Here we go. Good morning, Kara.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Thank God, fantastic. How are you?
Doing great. I got
Uh,
my own office for this meeting.
awesome. Wow, look at that
Yeah.
sun, that light you got in the room.
I know. It's going to be 80 today, and I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome. Where are you?
Yeah.
What part of the
I'm
country?
in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be 90 by us. That's our winter.
Oh, that is too much for me. I don't like 90. I like 60, 50, even 40 is pretty good, but
Wow. I could never get used to the
yeah.
cold. I'm from Australia originally, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool. I don't think I've met very many people who are originally from there.
Yeah. Proud to
That's
represent.
awesome. Huh? I know.
Proud to.
I know. When did you come here then?
Um, I moved to Florida like 2 years ago,
Okay.
but
Nice.
I lived in New York for 10 years.
Wow. Oh
Before
yeah, I
that,
remember you saying.
yeah, before that, Argentina for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've you've been all over the place. How'd you end up in mortgages?
Um, from buying my house, had a mortgage to pay, so I've been like
You
on
were
the board.
like, yeah.
I'll tell you what, it was a massive action move. Like I've been on the peripheral of the mortgage industry for 10 years in New York, like working with credit for mortgages, helping
Mm-hmm.
people get in the door, and teach them
Right.
about credit.
Right.
And then I did massive action when I bought my house. I didn't know how I was going to pay the mortgage, but I had just enough money to close. I said, let's do it. I put all my
Just
eggs in
enough
the
money. It
basket.
works.
Yeah, bought the house, and God found a way to help me do that, pay the monthly mortgage. I left the stress and the
Wow.
worry to him. No, it didn't help. It doesn't help me. It doesn't pay me enough.
No. No, that is a very stressful process, especially if you're like, okay, I think we just made it. I had a similar situation because my loan officer had, bless his heart, had accidentally forgotten to calculate my student loans into my DTI payment. And so I was on the phone with him and I was like, hey, can you double check that you did this? Just making sure I can afford this house. And he was like, oh, good call. Let me add those to your DTI. And I was like, oh God, no, please don't add those to my DTI. But okay, now I know I can't afford this house. So it's all stressful because of that too. So I feel you.
Yeah.
But
Kara, tell me some. You know what struck me when you called me the other day? It was the one thing that really struck me was your sheer unbridled enthusiasm. That's one thing that like it blew me away. I'm like, wait, let me listen to what she has to say.
Thank you.
Because I just like I fed off of it, and like it just made my day.
Hell yeah.
And it's something unique. I like that you don't really see, and I really admire that. I want
Thank
to talk
you.
about that. I want to learn um, what's behind that. How do you keep your enthusiasm so strong?
I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean part of it's just because I feel like it's just kind of miserable for me otherwise to be just like sitting here like, do you have a loan? No? Okay, bye. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. That just makes my whole day miserable. If even if that's my goal, I think in my job is to get a loan. It doesn't really push me. But I think part of it maybe is just because um, I haven't been in the mortgage industry for very long at all. Like I've been in it for a couple of years, and before that point, I did competitive speech and debate for 10
Oh,
years
no
and then coached
way.
it. Yeah. So, and that's like super, it's a random niche thing that not very many people I have talked to have
I'm
done.
so
And
curious about
and
that.
that
That probably
and
gave you.
that space was also honestly that space was also pretty negative because it was a lot of people who were jaded by the politics that we had in the
Right.
country. And so when I went into college and was coaching people who were also jaded and were also I'm so done with our government and our country. And I feel like in that same space, it was really easy to be like, oh well, yeah, like I hate the world and this is all just, I'm going to just be miserable with everybody else. But I think I've been I think part of it is my faith too. I think try to stay optimistic and stay positive because I know there's a lot bigger things out there. And if I'm immediately upset at, if somebody's rude to me on the phone when I was a loan officer, if people curse me out, whatever is happening, there's a lot bigger things than just that immediate moment. And if I can, reset myself in the morning, reset myself at night, that helps me to be more at peace during my day. And also it makes it worth it when people like you are like, oh, like you made my day, like you're so positive and cheerful. That makes me want to be more cheerful, and that makes my day too. So
That's awesome. I see like it's a reflection on your personal life and your personality. Like I think you bring that in,
thank
that
you.
that positivity.
Thank you. I
Um,
definitely want to. Yeah, it's really
so,
important to me too.
yeah, tell me about like when you talked about the reset.
Yeah.
I feel like you can also reset during the day. You don't have to wait till nighttime to reset. Every moment we can reset.
Very true. And sometimes I need to tell myself, hey, go out on the balcony because we're on the sixth floor up here. So I'm
Yeah.
like, go out on the balcony and do a little reset and it'll be okay. But I definitely have to do that during my day too. But you're right. It's my resets or were you gonna ask me like what the resets were like or what were you gonna say?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no rules. You just go there.
Well, I was gonna say real quick, I think a lot of the reset is me, I think, taking a deep breath, listening to good music, like thinking through what's happening in my day. I've been listening to a couple podcasts lately whenever I
Oh,
go to the gym and trying to, and they're all, it's basically like life coach podcasts. It's like how to set goals for yourself, how to differentiate between victim mentality and vulnerability, how
nice.
to reset your thoughts because your thoughts, you can't change your circumstances at all, but you can change your thoughts and those can change your feelings, which can then change your actions. And kind of trying to separate all of those out in my day because, you know, you're a loan officer. People, I know right now on the phone, people can be nasty or people can be just really pushing and like pressuring. And in the same way with my job too, I have the same thing. So I feel like I have to just separate myself from that and be like, no, it's I'm doing the best I can and that's all I can do. And I can be, honest and responsible and I know I can do my stuff and the rest is out of my control.
That's awesome. It's just like such a relief. You don't have to have that baggage
hmm
of
hmm
worrying about the outcome, worrying about worrying in general.
Right,
We can
right.
choose.
It's
We have like a headspace, and we can choose what we want to keep in there and what we want to, you know, give away.
right, right. It's
Stress, like here, I can take my stress here. I don't need it here. You can have it. You can have
exactly,
it, God. You can deal with it.
exactly. And
Worry,
it's
here you go.
infectious.
You're better equipped. That's fine. I don't need that.
Right,
Um,
right.
you know,
And it's,
that
I
those are
mean,
things
other
that help.
people see that.
Yeah. Also, you like you talked about like the thought, the emotions, and actions. Some things like they work in that order. Sometimes it works in a different order. Sometimes you just change an
Mm.
action, and that can change everything. Sometimes you change an emotion, that changes everything.
True, very true.
Yeah, and I like that reset power. That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been healthy for me, especially in the industries I've been in. So
Yeah. How do you start off the day? Like how do you get yourself to that positivity level to get you just started warmed up?
well, um, it starts, I think, honestly, before I get on the phones and before, on my way into work, I'm usually honestly jamming to music and singing in
Yeah,
my car on my way to work.
yeah. I just
So
did
I'm
that.
usually I'm already happy
That's
on my
awesome.
way to work.
I
And
just did
then
that on the way.
that's awesome. Yeah, so part of it's
I scream with the music and I dance in the
Mhm.
car. And sometimes
You
I
look like
glance
a
in the mirror to
maniac,
see people's
probably.
reactions, and I think every most of the time people are smiling.
Right.
And they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
so yeah, exactly. So that definitely helps on my way into work. And before that point, honestly, I get ready real quick and then just hop in my car. So part of that's because I just love sleep, but I get up at a good time. But when I'm in the car, I try to sing, hang out, have a good time. And then when I get into the office, I I mean, I tell my boyfriend all the time, I love my work and I love my coworkers. And so we joke around all the time out there because we're all in our cubicles together,
yeah,
and there's about 17 of us total who are sales reps, and so a lot of them have come from other companies that
yeah,
I brought on over to here that we used to work together at, like as loan officers at another company, or a lot of them I just didn't know previous to this point, but I think the culture of our work here is also like, don't take yourself too seriously. um, Stuff's going to happen during your day. That's fine. It'll be busy, it'll be chaotic, but we just like try to help each other out. And I've been in environments where there's not that collaborative helping each other, like, especially in a sales like competitive environment, people aren't really happy to always. Like when I was studying for my loan officer test, a couple loan officers that were my coworkers were saying, "Hey, I have this study guide, but don't share it with them." I was like, "Dude, we're all in this trying to get this
yeah,
test to support our families." Like that cutthroat environment, not here at all. So
yeah.
I think my coworkers and just us jiving off of each other throughout my day. If I have a hard phone call, I put the phone down. I'm like, "Woo, that was fun." That was a lot. And they're like, "Yeah, sounded like it, Kara." So all that kind of stuff helps kind of start my day off good and then keep going.
Wow. You know, that I felt that, that like vibing off each other feeling.
Yeah.
When you call me, like is contagious like crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank
and
you.
it is something very special and unique.
Thank
I
you.
really,
Hopefully you
really
can't hear
love
my coworkers in the background too much.
it. Don't worry about it. They can come on if they want.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, don't be shy. What'd you just
Yeah.
say?
Now
But yeah.
it, it was awesome, like not to be shy. I was shy for years and years, and then after I did my first podcast like 2 weeks ago, that was my first podcast.
Right.
And since
That's
then,
so
I
cool.
broke the shy bubble, and it's just been a very fun journey.
Yeah, yeah. What have the other episodes been on? I'm curious.
They're just talks like we're having right now. Uh,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
talks like I, the last like yesterday's one was about we just talked about the humanity behind the people and the humanity behind that what it takes to get your home. Like
Mm,
this one was with an appraiser,
mm.
um,
Ooh, that's
and
interesting.
then we're just talking like get get to know us.
I
We're
love it.
human beings, and
Yeah.
it's not cut and dried, number submission and all that.
Yeah.
With the banks, there are people behind the banks, there are relationships, the appraisal, their people, uh,
Mm,
the title attorney, their people,
yeah.
and each one of them has something unique, something special
Mm,
that they are bringing, and you know you can have a personal connection to your loan officer and he has those relationships, personal connections with everybody necessary to get you the loan.
right.
So
Right.
we're people.
I love that.
We're people at the end of the day, and we're all
I love
and,
that.
and we're all in this together.
Yes. I
So
love how you're taking different parts of the process too, because that's like you said, it's humanizing each part of the process.
yeah,
Because I know I complained about appraisers when I was a loan officer, or I complained about underwriters when I was a loan
yeah,
officer, whatever I complained about. But you know, there's a reason why they do the things they do and why they have vets in place, why they
yeah,
have the prices they do, and then like you said, there's a human behind that job.
yeah,
I mean, once you actually meet somebody and you hear their story, you're like, oh, that I probably shouldn't have been so harsh.
Yeah. Everybody has a story and everybody has a journey.
Yeah.
And that journey is really beautiful. Um, and sometimes you get to see the transformation from somebody having like a hard time to like, oh yes, I can do this. You got
Mm-hmm.
this. You know, but it could be a client
Yeah.
that has that transformation. It could be the appraiser that has that transformation. It could be the AMC. It could be the banker, the account executive. Even I've still on my bucket list or my list is with the underwriter. I haven't done that yet.
Do it. Yes, that'd be amazing. Because underwriters, they're always the big, scary,
They're
people
in
that
the
make
they're in
decisions.
the shadows. We don't get to know them.
Right, right. I was trying so hard to have a good relationship with my underwriters at my old job because I mean they're the ones that give you your money at the end of the
Right.
day. They're the ones that approve your files to get
Yeah.
to funding too. But also at the same time, I think that a lot of people are just trying to only have a relationship with them because of that point, not because they're humans, not because they also have a
Right.
lot to share. Our At our old company, our head underwriter was married to our credit risk lady. And if they got into an argument, man, you would hear it from the other side of the office. And they wouldn't get into arguments very often either, but it was hilarious. And when I got to know them more, and then we like had an office potluck, and they brought their food together, and they'd talk about, yeah, well, last night we were talking about this file, and you guys need to make sure you do that. They were so funny together as a couple, and I don't know how they made it work, but they did, and they were amazing. But I wouldn't have known that if I
Right.
didn't really get to know them more. So stuff like that. It's cool.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Um, what what are good pointers to if you're having like a hard time, like how to switch that into that negative into a positive.
Hmm. These are all good questions. Also, this is preaching to myself because I've only recently been thinking about this more. I feel like I was in a little bit of a rut before. So, but I also think people who are in ruts, you have to figure out a way to get out of
Right.
it.
How do you get out of Europe?
Yeah, I'm still climbing out of it, but
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it had to do with like my habits outside of work and figuring out how to give myself like some, I guess, give myself some time to relax, not beat myself up, and just like have my me time during like the evenings. But also to keep myself healthy throughout the day. Like I think for me personally, part of the reason why I was in that rut was because I was I was just not active during my day. I was not, I would go home and I would not really, like I normally before would go to the gym, or I'd like go on a walk, or I'd go call a friend. And when I realized, oh, I'm not calling my friends as much, or like I'm kind of always saying, oh, I'm doing work, I'm doing work, I'm doing work. That's I think that's part of what pushed me in that rut is I take work too seriously and I don't prioritize my actual people that love me, that want to care for me, that I've been with for 8 years, 10 years, friendships. So for me personally, how to get out of the rut for me was just reaching out to the people that I know would give me encouragement and also steer me in the right direction. One of them had a conversation with me that was kind of like, wake up,
Yeah.
get out of this rut. And I was like, I want you to coddle me right now, please. But if she was right, she was right. So yeah, I mean, you gotta know who you're around. Like if you like stop at the end of a week and you're like kind of evaluating your friendships and your coworkers and your conversations over that past week and you're like the majority of them are negative, you have to evaluate that because the human mind is so, it's powerful, but it's also super weak because we're so susceptible to whatever we're around. So if we're around negative conversation out of negative conversation day in and day out,
Yeah.
even if it's just your
Get you.
clients,
Yeah.
it will. If I always think, oh, I'm strong, I'll be able to take it. But my mom, that was her first lesson to me was you are who you're around, and you're not an exception to the rule. You will always be who you're around. And if you're around negative people, you can be a negative person.
Wow,
But
I like that.
what about
Also,
you?
uh, well, how did I get out of my rut,
Yeah.
or how do I keep the positivity?
How do you?
I guess
I
one.
don't know if you've had a rut or not, but
Oh my gosh, I have a long history of ruts.
I got a lot of ruts too. My
Yeah.
best.
But you know what? You know what? What's cool is the ruts is, or the process of getting out of the ruts is what builds your character. It's what makes
Hmm.
you strong, gives you the grit, gives you the resilience that you need to face anything that
Amen.
comes. Yeah, that's where the real money is. That's where the real
Hmm.
reward is getting out of that, getting out of the ruts.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
But yeah.
sometimes it took like years to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it took an instant.
Mm.
Um, a good example is like buying my house. I was in New York for 10 years. I was unhappy. It's a great city, um, not for everybody.
I
Uh,
still have never been. I really want to
really?
go. I still have never. I have never visited. I need to go though. But anyways, continue.
It's not too far from you. It's like a 10-hour
Yeah.
drive. I did the
Yeah,
drive.
it's a kind of
I
far.
drove I drove from New York to Florida when we moved, and we stopped over in North Carolina on the way.
And you were just enthralled by all of the beauty of North Carolina, right?
I was enthralled with the accents.
With the what?
With the accent of the
The
local,
actions of people?
the accent, the accent,
Action?
accent.
Action? Yeah? Why? How so?
I said accent.
Yeah, actions.
Yes.
I'm hearing action, like speak, act, action. What are you saying?
Accent.
Accents. Got it now. The accents.
But like, I felt like the warm hospitality. Like everyone's happy. Hello, how's your day?
Yeah,
I'm
some of that's fake,
well.
but
What?
I said some of that's fake in North Carolina, but yes. Some of that's the, bless your heart,
Yeah.
but she's got a lot to deal with right now. I'm like, okay. But
uh,
yes, our accents, the
yeah,
y'alls.
yeah. That was
Yes,
nice. We were only there
yes.
for like overnight. Um, but it was nice.
That's awesome.
You
Where did you stay?
what? At a
Where
hotel?
did you stay? Like was it in Charlotte or was it in like Raleigh or somewhere else?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember.
No worries. No worries. It was a while ago. But that's
uh,
really cool.
yeah, it was 2 years ago. So like getting out of the rut. So like New York, I was there for 10 years. Um, did like a bunch of different jobs that never worked out for them,
Mm.
uh, or for me. I'm just not a jobs type of guy. I don't like the restrictions. I don't like the um, by the way, your video is a little unclear.
Hmm. Let me. I see why, or I
There
see
you
what
go.
you're
Much
saying.
better.
Oh, we're better now. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Um, and then my friend calls me up one day and says, I have a neighbor across like a block away from me that wants to sell his house off market. Go grab
Mm.
it. And I did. I I said, you know what? We'll make the move to Florida. It was the middle of COVID. I've had enough. You know, 3 kids in a tiny 2-bedroom apartment. We're going
Man.
crazy. You know,
Man.
enough is enough.
Oh,
So I did it, and that whole decision took an instant,
wow.
and we're able to make a complete transformation.
Right.
Sometimes it takes an instant, and then like another month of hard work to close the deal, whatever it takes. Like within a week, I had a job in Florida. That
Wow.
you know,
That's
um,
crazy.
it was just when you decide um, that you're all in and you give it all
Yeah.
you got. You see, you're just making yourself a good vessel for God's blessings.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like,
Times of
enough is enough.
yeah, yeah,
I love that.
yeah,
You and I get what you're saying now about how it could be in an instant, because I do feel like a lot of times we think about change and growth and making big moves for yourself as being a really big uh, process, but sometimes it's just as simple as got a house, get it
yeah,
now, like
yeah,
get this house, it's available for you, or you've got to get a job, do it now, get the interviews done, like an
yeah.
instant decision.
I feel like the whole process, um, it could be long, could be short, but the it's just a matter of just removing the dirt, like
Hmm.
removing the fears, removing the doubts, removing the anxiety, just
Hmm.
like just like removing all that, and then all that's left
Yeah.
is blessings.
Yeah. Oh, I
Because
love that so much.
the blessings are there already. You know, God's light is right there in us, and all we have to
Yes.
do is just uncover all the stuff that we put on top of it and just
Yes.
feel it.
Yes. It's
You,
all
you
about our
could,
mind.
yeah, we could do that little by little, or sometimes we can just mop it all out there.
Mm, I love that. That reminds me too a little bit of like a tradition that my dad started for my family. We on New Year's Eve we like had in order to keep our minds like that and keep thinking about, look at the blessings around us and not just be in a rut like that.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, we'd write down little blessings,
Well,
evidences of
that's
God
cool.
throughout the year, and we put it in this little jar. And then at the end of the year, my dad would read it and
Yeah.
to all of us. And it would take a while sometimes, or if it would take shorter, my mom would be like, we didn't write down very many blessings this year, kids. But if it took a long time, that we had a good year. But I realized after I moved out of my parents' house, I was like, New Year's Eve, I was looking back over my year and I was like, this was a terrible year. And the next year, this was a terrible year. And I was like, I was just looking at it with such a negative perspective. And I realized it's because I wasn't really pinpointing, oh, no, that was a blessing. Oh,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I changed jobs, changed states where I live, like all these things happened. And I'm like, it was a terrible year. And I just wasn't really actually taking that to heart, I don't think. So I like how you said that too.
I
It could be an
love that.
instant and also your perspective too.
Yeah. You can focus on the positives,
Yeah.
and then the negatives just become insignificant,
Yeah, they do. They do. They really do.
and it's
And
not
some
hurtful.
negatives are really big though, and they have to be addressed. But if you address them from a moment of desperation, it's going to be much more difficult versus addressing them from a moment of no, like I'm okay, and there's a lot of blessings around me, and this is a problem, and I need to get it done. Like how you were like, got 3 kids, 2-bedroom house. I need to get another house. We're gonna move. We're gonna do something for
Yeah.
us.
So you know what? Even though the 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 actual change was instantaneous, but
Hmm.
I've been wanting to move to Florida for 5 years or 6 years, just thinking about it, wanting to one day when I have the money, when things are right, and this and that, and then
Wow.
I didn't take the action. It was just
Wow.
wishful thinking,
Yeah.
and then one day,
And
well,
now you're here to talk about it.
yeah, uh, yeah. I
That's
survived to tell
awesome,
the
though.
tale.
Your energy's infectious, too. These kind of conversations make my day because,
Yeah,
otherwise, if I'm on the phone with a bunch of people that are like, the whole my life sucks, I hate this, and I mean, sometimes you do get those calls where you have to pull them out of that and you're like, hey, like it'll be okay, you got this, but
yeah,
no, I love conversations like this and hearing your story too.
yeah. Me too. It's a great way
Yeah,
to start the day.
it is.
Thanks so much.
Of course. And,
So,
I still would love to talk about I-10 at a later point too. I know
yeah,
I don't have too much time left today, but at a later point, I'd still love to talk about I-10 too,
of
because
course.
that's, I mean, it's even another example of where I feel like you see a lot of families that people commonly think are not paying taxes or not
Yeah,
working or whatever, don't have a high FICO, and they worked. But if you actually take a look closer at those families, they put in so much time and effort into getting a house,
yeah.
and they're some of the most qualified,
Oh my gosh.
deserving
There-
borrowers I have
and
ever
yes, that's something
come
special
across.
I think you and I can do together.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. That is something that's very
Yeah.
close to my heart. There's
Yes.
people that would just like to have taken the action to give themselves a better life by moving to the United States
Hmm.
and then just working hard, honestly and earnestly, to provide for their families. Um, Often they come without their families and just sending their money overseas. But when they bring their families, you know, that is something, that's really the American dream. And
Yeah.
that I think a lot of Americans have forgotten about that and don't and
Yeah. It's kind of cutthroat here
really
now,
don't.
right?
What?
Kind of cutthroat here now, right?
Yeah, we shouldn't take it for granted that we're born in the United States or American
Mm-mm.
citizens.
Mm-mm.
Um, we should have that drive as a new immigrant.
Yeah, 100%. And people don't really they don't put themselves in the same category. They're like, well, I feel like they don't push themselves the same drive that I personally see in a lot of these borrowers
Yeah,
where they because of like their generational culture, they will never default. They will not default, they will not foreclose, they will
no,
not miss a payment.
no,
They will make those payments because they're going to keep this
no,
house no matter what. And I feel like that's a drive that I don't see in a lot of American
no,
families.
no,
A lot of American families, you look at their credit report and they're like racking up on those credit cards, and that's not a bad thing. But if you don't have self control about it, like how I see a lot of these ICANN borrowers having self control,
oh yeah.
got to learn from
They're
them.
not going out to fancy restaurants.
No,
They're not buying the new Xbox or the latest
mm-mm.
iPhone.
No, they're
They're
not.
working hard to support their family.
I mean, I don't see it because I look
Yeah,
at their credit report and I know they're
exactly.
not.
Fair report's not.
Uh-uh.
All right.
But
All right,
thank you so
Kara,
much.
have an awesome day. Let's
Thank
take
you.
this and let's bring that inspiration throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, throughout the rest of the week too.
Oh
I
yeah,
know anytime we call each other, we're just gonna be like, "Let's go! How's
let's
your day
do it.
going?"
Yes, we could.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you again. I am honored to be on your podcast. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so much. Me
hosting.
too. Me too.
Mhm.
This was the best ever.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Yes. I wish you a very blessed day.
Thank you so
See you soon.
much. I know we'll chat soon.
All right. See you, Kara.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.